How are we doing? So, we just completed our daily commitment of doing our daily millionaire news. This is something we've been doing for, it's got to be 6 months now, right? So, pretty cool, pretty fun. We actually had 25 people on the live stream, which is, I think, is a record. And it's increasing almost every day. So, pretty soon we're going to be having, one, two, 300 folks on there. So, those are going to be a lot of fun. But I wanted to do this live stream because I wanted to talk to the multifamily investors. So it probably wouldn't shock you that my social media feed is very real estate investing heavy, right? I've been real estate investing for 20 years. It's kind of who all my friends are. I help people now. I coach, I mentor, right? I have a course, book, all that stuff. So probably no great shock that my Facebook, Instagram pages are very, very real estate heavy. I've seen some unfortunate behavior, I think, the last couple of weeks. I have seen seemingly hundreds of people say something like this. Basically, my real estate is doing well. My tenants are paying rent. Glad I'm not the stock market, or worse, ha ha ha. Look at those stock market investors. Um, you know, why are they being so stupid? Blah 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 blah. First off, that's not a good look. Celebrate in silence. Don't don't get joy from somebody else's pain. That's not a good look for anyone. But I also want to remind you that karma's real, right? I actually think that multifamily investors should be buckling up, because there's a very real likelihood that in some markets your tenants aren't going to be able to pay rent here very quickly. Right? Do you know where your tenants work? Right? And I say this as somebody who owns apartments, so I'm thinking about this right now. Right? Do you know where your tenants work? Right? Are they in retail? Right? Could retail in the next 3 months have less employees? Yeah, nobody's going to the mall. Right? Do they work in some kind of travel industry, hotels, airlines, amusement parks, whatever? Shoot, the NBA, the National Basketball Association, is talking about playing games with no fans. What about all the concession workers and people checking in tickets and security? And it doesn't take long to figure out that we may have thousands and tens of thousands of people, at least in the short term, out of work, furloughed, whatever you want to call it. People are, the consumer is fundamentally changing their behavior, and there are businesses that are going to be in trouble. Did you see the owner of the Houston Rockets? I forget his name, but basically he owns Bubba Gump and lots of other restaurants, and that's how he afforded the Houston Rockets, right? Because he's a restaurant guy, and he's losing $1 million a day. It's not going to take very long for him to cut headcount. Do you need all those servers and dishwashers and cooks? And no, right? If you're losing $1 million a day, I couldn't, Tillerman, I think his last name is, now that it just jumped in my head. So, first off, stop picking on the stock market investors. Second, you might want to raise your cash balances, because you may need to cover your mortgage payment a couple of months with less rent coming in. Again, I've talked about it many times. Occupancy versus economic occupancy are very, very different. And I invested in owned apartments in '08, and more importantly in 10. And if people don't have jobs, they don't pay. They don't pay, and they stay, and you've got to evict them, and then you got to turn them. So realize, I certainly hope it doesn't go this direction. I hope nobody loses their jobs. But in reality, is that hope even realistic? So, multifamily investors, you need to figure out where your apartments are, who is living in them, and what's going on. How about manufacturing, right? Are you in the Midwest and most of your employees are manufacturers? Do you know if they can complete the task at hand, or are some of their parts stuck in China? Think about it, right? If you have a bunch of machinists who usually do finish work on manufacturing, but yet the raw material and parts are stuck in China, do you think it'll take very long for that manufacturing plant to lay off, or maybe furlough would probably be the word, a bunch of employees? I think it's going to happen. We have a supply disruption, and in an economy with just-in-time manufacturing where parts are coming from all over the world before this thing is created, one part could blow up an assembly line, meaning it's not finished goods. So multifamily investors, you really need to be careful. You should really look at your portfolio, figure out what people, where they work, and figure out your risks. Some of you will be fine, right? It's, I don't know, you have, but a lot of us have apartment buildings where the tenants have jobs that could be at risk. If the economy slams into a wall, manufacturing's disrupted, travel industry's disrupted, all these other things are disrupted. Even if it's a short term, our tenants, whether we like it or not, live paycheck to paycheck. And if one of them loses their paycheck, even for a couple of months, you're not getting your rent payment. I've been there. These last 12 years have spoiled multifamily investors. Y'all haven't seen a downturn. They hurt. They hurt a lot. And if you are so arrogant as to think it can't impact you, let's talk in a few months. It could. It really could. But in the end of the day, this video is really about, please, let's not celebrate somebody else's pain. Yes, I have $0 in the stock market. Yes, I was not impacted by the 4,000 point drop week. But you know what? I missed the 10,000 point rise or whatever it was the last 10 years too. So, you could equally change the timing and I look like an idiot. So hustle in silence, celebrate in silence, do your thing. And if you are a multifamily investor, be careful. I would raise your cash balances, because could you pay your mortgage payment 3 or 4 months if you had zero rent? I think I'd look into that. All right, I just wanted to do that. I didn't like what I saw on my social media page. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just because my feed is so real estate dominant. I was just seeing too much of that. And that's not a good look for anyone. All right, everybody, have a great day.